Also, Larry,
right.
you got to be out at. Oh, hey.
We are live.
All right.
We are. Okay.
And that's the flying L.
Cool.
All right, so you did drop the link though over there on.
I did not put a link. I just said go to Shelby's Comics at YouTube.
No, I asked Phil to drop the link in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Larry, I thought that you had. That's what you were.
No, I did not drop the link in the chat. Okay, Professor's there. Hey, Professor.
Okay, you go, Danner.
Okay,
All right. Hey, y'all. So y'all should be able to hear us. Sorry about that. We did not. We were trying to take over Paul's channel, but yeah,
that didn't work.
Apparently, that didn't work. So we are over here now. So welcome. Hopefully, everybody will come over. They'll see the link over on the other side. Did y'all see the link on the other side? Someone let us know. No, they'll be fine. Thank you, Collecting Chaos. That will carry over to next time. So do not worry about that. All right. So hopefully y'all saw the link on the other side. So you saw it. Okay. Thank you, Don.
Actually, I'm looking at the comments from Paul's channel. I don't see the link, Shelby.
Okay. Thank you, Hugo.
Cool.
All right. Well, welcome. Whew. All right,
we're gonna have to make this a shortened hour-long show now. We got started a little late, but yeah, some of us have obligations after to get out by about 10, so we're going to try to make this about an hour long.
There you go. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into it. Thank you, everybody. I think I kind of said everybody. Hello, Peter. Hello, Hugo. Hello, Don. Collecting Chaos. Ben Stewart. Welcome. Glad y'all could find me. If you're not, of course, sub to me while you're here, go ahead and hit that sub button. I appreciate it. And thank you to all the super chats. They're supporting us over on the other channel. Those will carry over to next week, of course. But next week is Easter, so I think we were talking about maybe taking Easter off. We were saying we were all available on Easter.
Possibly.
I'm available. Yeah, I'm available on Easter. I'm going to be probably in Hong Kong. So
okay. Hello, my last nerve.
Nice.
Dr. Paul is fine. He is
he's living life. He just caught an obligation.
Yeah.
At least I'm working on comic books. So Shelby, what have you been working on?
Why don't we do the
confess.
I've been busy with actual work this week, so I do have a couple of things planned. They're actually in the other room, but I do have a couple of things planned. Some Silver Age books I've been wanting to work on. Silver Age are always something we get a lot of comments about, so I wanted to do a couple of Silver Age books coming up. Okay. So,
Shelby, where can everyone find you too?
Obviously, right here at Shelby's Comics on YouTube.
Nice. You're on Instagram too?
I am on Instagram. And that's probably the best way to actually contact me. A lot of times, a lot of people contact me.
Yeah, I think for all of us, that's the quickest way to get a response from any of us is Instagram.
Yeah.
All right.
Larry, you're coming to us from home too, aren't you?
I am at home. I've actually been able to work on a great deal of comics.
Ooh, very nice.
I
see a pattern.
They're all leaf casted. Actually, the spines, everything. So I got a whole stack. That's a Wings #1. That's all leaf cast. Nice. Of course, this little nightmare has been a real problem, but it's done. So I got a lot of stuff to get shipped off. Tomorrow actually. So, but yeah, I've been working. I have been shooting raw video. I'll put stuff together for some of the YouTube stuff. So I've been negligent in posting videos. So,
And Jack is in time out because he was sitting over here on the keyboard to try to move him, and he stuck his claw into one of the keyboard keys and ripped it out.
oh, ow, shit, that hurts.
And he's done that before, and every time he's done it, it breaks the key. So now I have a freaking $2,000 computer with a broken key on it. So I'm pretty
aggravated. Oh no! Oh no!
What? Somebody's microphone went hot.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I don't know if one of you guys or someone in the comments can leave or maybe periodically leave some comments on the old channel video, because I think some people are still waiting for the live video to start, and they're not aware that there's a link.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. Go to the link I just posted. Where
I was just going to try to do it myself, but
you can't post it. You don't have admin rights or a wrench, so it may look like you're posting it, but it won't show up. So
yeah,
I think
I don't see any link here in the
only Phil
for
can
the other
post
show.
the link. Only Phil.
Oh, really? Really?
Because you have admin rights. I've asked for a wrench before, but I'm not worthy.
All right,
or I don't think Paul understands what a wrench means.
Forgive me, my audio might be weird for a second here, then.
All right. So since we're running late, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So we are looking at, and Phil, I'm just going to see if I can present on my side to help out here. All right. So we got this really cool Captain America #9, 1941 Timely Comics. We're going to look at tonight. So this was sold on eBay on January 26th of this year. You can see the grader's notes. Oh, it's cool. We're going to talk about it in a minute, Jason. It's from December 1941. So we entered the war in December of 1941, but this would have been published around October, because there's about a 2-month gap there. And so we would have just entered the war when this came out. This is conserved grade. Okay.
Just give me a second here.
All right. And the conservation notes only says spine split, sealed to cover. And if we look at the grader's notes here, hey, AG, it says it's a small crease to top left back corner cover, stress and creases onto the spine, and then a 3/4 inch split bottom of spine, which I assume is what was sealed. Now, we don't know what it was sealed with. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry, Phil, there's something wrong with your microphone. It's picking up all your keyboards.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what's funny is, just a full admission here, I'm not sure if I even have privileges, because I've always had issues trying to chat. If I just make a comment in the normal chat, I can leave a comment in the private chat on the initial video that we had, but I don't have access or see anywhere to post a comment in the actual comment stream. So, which I've always had issues with that, and I still never got it figured out, which is really weird, but it's a bit frustrating. Right. So maybe I'll just close the browser.
Here, so as long as it says come over to Shelby's channel or Larry's channel,
yeah,
then we should be okay.
All right. I was just trying my best to get that done, but I can't seem to figure it out. That should be better now. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's like you switched from a microphone that you were using earlier.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Is it better now?
It's really loud.
Yeah, you're good now. Oh. You're good now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's a little bit closer look. You can see the conservation spine split to the cover. This cover looks pretty amazing for a 7.0. Beautiful, look like a little corner wear at the top there on the spine. And let's talk about what's going on this cover. Captain America busting through a window. You've got the Black Talon down there choking out Bucky and painting him at the same time. And the little inscription there, it says, "The Black Talon sought Bucky's expression as Captain America leaped in." So he's like actually painting Bucky getting choked out by himself. Some kind of little imp or something there with a dagger.
He's got like spiked teeth and
spiked teeth and stuff, red eyes. And if you actually notice there in the background, there's a couple of his previous paintings. So it looks like a self-portrait on one, then a painting of a skeleton, and then the other is supposed to be a painting, but it's shooting at Captain America. And the reason why I know it's supposed to be a painting is there are actual strings holding the frame up as if it's a living painting that's shooting at Captain America.
Shelby, is this a wartime comic?
That's what I said. Is this was published December of 1941. We entered the war in December of 1941. So this isn't actually a war comic because it would have gone to press in October. But when it came out, we had just entered the war.
Okay.
Yeah, and Phil, I think you still have one window open or something there.
No, I might just have to. Let me see if I can do this.
There you go. You had it off. All right.
It's just picking up a lot of background.
Is that better now, or is that worse again?
There. That was it. Whatever you did.
Yeah. These headphones are weird. I opened a browser and then even closing the browser didn't correct it. I had to anyway, it's all good now. We're good.
All good. Yeah, we can hear you fine now.
Yeah. So just a lot going on this cover. I just loved it. I sat here and looked at it. And let me say this too. Jack Kirby, he was 24 at this time. And I don't think the inker and the printing process did any favors to his art during this time. But he was also 24 when he did this work. So very early Jack Kirby work. Here's the bottom. You can see, of course, the palette of paint and him choking out.
I'm trying to think of when Schomburg stopped on the Captain America cover.
Schomburg did some covers after this because he did the Submariner. Okay. He did the Submariner covers and things like that. Submariner came after this.
Okay.
So, a little without giving away the actual price of this book, there was a description from the seller on eBay that says, "I bought this book already slabbed, but in hand, it looks like just a small half-inch split at the bottom spine that was sealed. Certainly not a long split. This would be an excellent candidate for restoration." And he also notes that this was sold in January of this year. And he does note that there was another sale of a 7.0 for $10,200. And then in October, another sale of 1.8. Yeah, we can still hear Phil's background.
Yeah, the sound came back, Phil. I don't know.
It's like
Can't do anything.
It's like your mic or something.
Well, now it's fine.
Try to copy.
Now the background noise stopped. I don't know what are you doing something on the side?
No,
I think it's
I closed the only link.
And it picks up his voice when he's not talking. It picks up the back.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's fine now. There's some mysteries in life. These headphones are one of them.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, Peter. It's like I'm going to say it's the inker or something that's not doing any favors to his artwork because he had been doing art for several years by this point. So here is the census data for this, and here's a copy of that 7.0 that was sold at Heritage the same month that the Conserve was sold on eBay. If you notice, there is 82 in all grades, 55 universal, 2 certified. Now, according to Go Collect, a 7.0, the fair market value is $5,500. But like we just said, the the sale in January, the same month as the eBay sale, was for $10,200. So Go Collect's fair market value seems really off to me on this.
Well, their algorithm is off. I look at both that and GPA when I'm pricing things, and Go Collect is significantly there's like some outlier someplace that brings the whole thing, changes the whole price structure. So it's also on what people are willing to pay. I mean, you're not going to see this book come up for auction very
No,
often.
this book does not come up very much because I did look, and there's only been on Heritage about 5 sales going all the way back to 2003. So this does not come up very often. So interrupting you. Were you done, Larry? I apologize.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I was just saying, I basically said, you can sit there and wait a decade for this book to come up for auction. So when it does, you spring on it and grab it. If you have the funds.
So one thing that's throwing off, I think, of the fair market values, if you look at the graph up at the top, this is one of these weird instances. I'm a statistician, and this is one of these weird instances where this actually has what's called a binomial distribution. So it actually has 2 humps in it, unlike a normal bell curve. So the mean and median shows 5.0, but if you notice, that is actually pulled towards the center due to a big amount of books. I mean, 5, which is kind of big, around the 3.0, 3.5 mark, and then about 5 to 6 books around the 7.0 to 7.5 mark. So it's like you have a missing middle and then several bunches of books out towards the sides. So it's kind of an interesting distribution that you're missing a lot of these mid-grade books in this for this book.
Yeah.
So here is the sale at Heritage January 9th of this year. So it says stress and small spine creases, light multiple crease to left top back cover, and boxing on the back cover. And it sold for $10,200. So a little bit closer look, and I didn't do any zoom ins on it, but
I can see the foxing.
The foxing is kind of around here, and there's a bunch of dirt along this spine, and maybe some foxing up here.
You just have to get that dirt out, though.
You actually have some ink loss here on the cover of this, which they don't denote in the grading.
Oh, so you want to know why? So that's actually something that I've encountered several times with people sending me pictures of the inside cover of books, and it's mostly timely books that I've seen, and I don't know, I don't totally understand like the technical reason why it happens, but you'll see what looks almost like bleed through in the cover, and areas like that where it looks like the cover wore away. It's just the way that the book was printed. It's just it's a signifier of how low grade this printing process was. It was just get it done and get it out the door. They were quality control to make sure everything was perfect, wasn't at its peak. So these timely books, especially the reds, you see that a lot, especially these early timelies.
Did you see that comment, Phil, from Collecting Chaos?
Check your audio. Is my audio? I thought my audio was fixed. Everything should be fine.
No, it's back crappy again. It's almost like
I changed your settings for you.
I'm gonna close the browser and open it back up.
You're better. I changed your settings for you.
Oh, okay.
You're a little bit better. You're a little bit better.
We were hearing everything from you.
I know. I just cut off
swallowing and breathing.
I cut it off.
Good. No one wants to hear that. I was gonna say, I oftentimes if I close the browser and open it back up and disconnect the headphones, everything clears up. It's
and that's
something
what
with the headphones.
Your headphones that are picking up. But
if it's fine now, then
I just cut on background noise cancellation for your mic, so you should be fine.
Sweet. Thank you.
All right. So here we are. We now have a universal grade that sold for $10,200 at the beginning of January this year. Fair market value is $5,500, and then a conserve grade sold about 15 days later on eBay. Same grade. You saw them. So what do you think the conserve grade is worth? Yeah, it sounds like Queen. Yeah, cool ambiance of the Queens.
I don't know. I'd probably say about between 3,000 and 4,000.
Okay. Chat. All right, 3,000.
Shelby, we can hear you breathing.
All right, Jason's going 6,000. He's leaning more towards the universal grade sold versus the FMV.
Yeah. Ben Stewart and I are about the same, about 3,500. So.
And Phil, I guess you know, so you're not answering.
Yeah, I'll be quiet on this one. There's no reason to say it if I'm cheating. So, well. I don't know many books, but there's some that pop onto my radar that'll pop up from time to time in the show, and I'm like, this is familiar.
All right, so this sold for $37.53 from our buddies at Blizzard Comics. Like I said, this was sold on January 26th. The one at Heritage was sold on the 9th, so this is only about 15 days apart from each other that these sold.
This is an eBay sale as well.
This is an eBay sale, but I don't know. It seems a little cheap to me. So if you look at the fair market value compared to the sale price, it sold for about 68% of the fair market value, but only 37% of the Heritage sale. And I agree with you. I mean, if you look at this book, if you look at this Universal compared to the Conserved, I think the Conserved has a lot brighter inks. And if it's only got a tear seal, and I don't know what that tear seal is, I'm almost probably would guess it's like some methyl cellulose that was maybe applied or something. I don't think this cover was taken off to do Tengujo. So
no, it would have said
spine split seal. It likely would have said, yeah. Oh no, it does. It says spine split seal to cover. So I mean, it could have been, and they just didn't specify that the cover was technically reinforced at the staple area if it was the length. Sometimes you have to interpret a little bit from that. So
the tear was only at the bottom. So if you look at the comment here that said the book was bought slab in hand, but it looks like a 1/2 inch split at the bottom that was sealed.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't say what the seal was, but it said for restoration.
But just to be fair, taking that with a grain of salt, it looks to be, there's a lot of things look to be until you disassemble the book and look, and then you're like, hey, it could, it very well could be.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's kind of tough to know. Yeah.
And I can't see it. I have tried looking at the front and the back. That's why I zoomed in on this back. I can't see a tear. It must be right on the spine where it's facing.
That's the most likely place for a tear.
So if you were to, even if it was Tengujo work or even methyl cellulose, if you were to just remove that, I think this would be
best case could
better
be
looking than the Universal, and then you're talking about a $10,000 book.
Yeah, for how much it costs, you got a good bang for your buck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
depends on what that grade would be. If it could, even if it goes back a 6 or a 6.5, you're probably sitting good for only having that much money in. If a 7 went for 10, so
yeah. And like I said, I think the colors to me look brighter on the conserve grade. I mean, these colors look incredible.
Yeah.
Sharp, deep inks. So I don't know. I wish I had seen it. I wish I had seen this one for sale because I mean, only selling for $3,700.
Yep. Still a decent chunk of change.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. So that was it for that.
Nice. That was a great book. Sweet book.
Yeah.
Great wartime book.
Yeah, I like those wartime covers. They're really bright colors. I always like finding the Schomburg covers whenever possible. But those timely books are so expensive.
So
yeah.
And I don't own any of those. I don't own a Submariner. I don't own a Human Torch. I don't own a Captain America. I don't own any of those. And I'd love.
I've got some obscure Schomburg books, but nothing big name like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I had when I was like 14, I got a copy of Human Torch 18 for it was like $280, and it was like a 4 or 5, but this was also back when those were much more affordable. That was my entry into Schomburg. Sweet book.
Yeah, well, the other thing is I came up in an era where the stories were the most important thing. We watched the stories, but now. And today, everybody is looking at the artist. What artist did the cover? And all these guys are all long dead, But it's just like, okay, yeah, I like L.B. Cole, I like Schomburg, I like all these Golden Age artists, yeah, because those are the ones that hold a lot of value, and they're the most sought after, especially like I said, the timely books that Schomburg did.
Marvel Mystery is another one. That's
I went hard after a Marvel Mystery. What was it? A 6? I can't remember. I shared it with you guys, but on Heritage about. I think it was last weekend, and
I remember that one. Yeah, I went for quite a lot for what it was.
I know. I ran it up there, and I was outbid by $100 on it. And it's just like I couldn't go any further because I like things with meat left on a bone. I think it was a 1.8, but it had so much potential
but for only $100, man.
Well, I was already into it. I think about $3,500.
Yeah. No, the difference in bid was only $100.
The difference in bid was $100.
Yeah, you don't know how much further would have went up.
Yeah. And so I just stopped.
Yeah. Sometimes people, as we saw on this one here, it's like sometimes a copy comes up and it's in someone's budget and they're like, I don't know when the next one's going to be, so this is the one I want to get, and you end up maybe overpaying a little bit, and that's okay with you. So,
well, people are getting their tax return money now, so.
yeah. But if we're looking for books with meat on the bone, sometimes timelies can be tough sometimes, but definitely doable because you picked up some.
I will own a timely at some point.
Yeah, there's 54 bids on that book, so it wasn't, like just a few people going after it. So.
Oh, this cap, yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So, Phil, let me see if I did that right.
Time for Phil's segment.
All right, looks like I can't showcase comments, but I can click next slide. So
you can. Okay, good.
Yeah, I am able to click the next slide, so that saves your finger clicking.
It should because I'm broadcasting it from your side.
Okay, cool. So here's this is an older book that I worked on, but I don't think it's been years since I posted it, and I don't expect people to go back very far on my Instagram to see books. Once you've seen certain things, you're not going to keep going back unless you're really
Is that
really
colored
invested.
touch?
So, where at? Like
above Robin's name. Okay.
No, just another kind of symptom of
that pink. I've
there's
seen
kind of a variation. And the way that it was printed, it's just there's slight variation in that background color.
It is,
okay.
and because it's a dot pattern, and so it's like just really reduced red is what it is. So, yeah.
So I actually, when I was pulling back the pictures, I couldn't remember exactly like whether or not this thing had marriage or if it was just conservation. And sure enough, there it is. It came to me in a CBCS holder, and that's like a first generation CBCS holder too, from when they first opened up. And as the notes state, the centerfold was married, the cover was detached and completely split, and the married centerfold was also detached. So this book was in need of some work. And there's this splash page that, as you can tell, really is.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to sell a book that they weren't selling a story that was synonymous with the cover. Very much look at the splash. Like they're like, we're not messing around. Here's Robin. So the first appearance of one of probably the most important sidekick in superheroes. Without him, who knows how that whole dynamic would have played out? Because this is pretty early. This was 41. I mean, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken, that like if he's not the one that was first, he's the one that made it popular. Where Toro came in, the Human Torch's sidekick, and all these other,
right.
Bucky. Like he predates Bucky, and the sidekick became such a predominant part of the superhero genre because they needed a way to make little kids be like, that could be me. So cool book. These early detectives are so cool, and it's just so cool seeing that that little Batman logo in the top left where he's got the cowl, and it's just really like the huge.
Yeah, the big-eared Batman.
It's badass. Yeah, the Dark Knight, and then this is kind of right when the Dark Knight dies, But hey, up until here, so this is I was able to get good scans of this book back when it came in, which is cool. So that just shows how there was. The whole edge of both covers were frayed, split, and detached. And the book was dirty. It's cool seeing something that was never dry cleaned, never pressed. You just see natural wear. And the crazier thing is how a book like this survived up until the point of getting into that CBCS slab without someone wanting to read it, and then they just put a big tear down the center of one of the covers or something. It's like, or really, it's crazier that some kid didn't take tape and tape this back together. Why not? Yeah. I mean, it was still available. It's what they would do. So it can be removed as long as it's not going to be.
But it was never taped.
No evidence that tape was there and removed. It just somehow evaded the protection of the tape. So.
Well, and sometimes you find these covers when they've been detached or torn like this, actually in better condition, because if you're going to read the book, it's already detached, so you set it off to the side.
Exactly.
Then you hold the inside and you read the inside, and then you kind of slide it back together and you put it up, right? So
as long as you have something to put it into, this has survived all this time too. So I wonder when the cover did become detached, and if comic bags and boards were even around then, and how is it? It's remarkable how they last. But Shelby, you are right. There is something to that. So just to jump into, there's a picture of the interior.
Here has been read. You see the, the spine crease and stuff.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a spine roll, what you would naturally expect. And then again, for anyone watching, there's so much emphasis on the covers sometimes that the interiors get overlooked. And just for people that are working on their books, just the consideration, you see those tears at the bottom edge. Those are all factory tears.
Yeah,
that's not
bindery marks.
Yeah, so that's something. I mean, if you really want to be OCD and you can seal them, go for it. But CGC doesn't downgrade. Those are all natural part of how these books were printed on cheap newsprint, and get it out the door.
Only time I seal those is if they're leading to a tear going up into the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And
yeah,
overall-
exactly. Very. Yep.
Yeah, and overall, this interior, apparently this was kept in a pretty good environment. And because I know y'all have seen it on these Golden Age books, is you get that tear at the bottom of the staple that kind of goes all the way through the whole book almost. And, you know, it's because the paper gets so weak because it's such cheap paper. But yeah, this, I mean, that
Not
paper
only
was
that,
amazing around the staples and stuff in the corners.
yeah. Once the cover's detached, this is the cover. So this is taking in the brunt, exactly. So that first wrap usually is sustaining an exceptional amount of damage once that cover's detached, Shelby, is what you're saying. And absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So here's the cover open. One of my blotters. Ready for some pre conservation work. And this was one I was so happy I took the pictures because it's cool to see this. So this needed a lot of prepping. If you were to just go in all haphazardly without doing things in the correct order first, you're going to make more work. So I was like, I need to straighten out all these folds, get everything back to its orientation before I seal anything. If you start sealing stuff before you start, you know, flipping over all the folded paper and everything, then you might run into issues. So that can take a little time. And as you can see too, this is, you know, it's built like a tank. These Golden Age covers are strong. It's not like a marble cover. You have multiple layers that you can deal with, but you still got to be careful.
And you can almost see the, like that's a great example right there. But yeah, like right there where that 0.10 is, you can actually see almost the layers of the paper. And then you had to get the lapping tears set just right. And,
yeah. So I had to do that to set some, because then you can see it's like opened up. So yep, exactly. I've encountered books before where someone filled in that area instead of wheat paste with glue. And then you can rub your hand over the cover and it feels like rocks inside the paper. And it's like, it's a mess. It ends up being a mess.
So you have a question here, and I kind of had a question too. Did you moisten this to help lay it flat? And then Jason asks, did you put it into a cold press to kind of flatten it?
I mean, so prior to anything, I mean, yeah, just basic techniques. I have my sweet little cup here that I keep all of these in, right? And then I'll just dip them in a little bit of water that I have up here, and then I'm just rubbing this over the areas. So I'm softening up the paper fibers and then working them. You know, that's it. I'm just getting them just malleable enough to move around, and then using my tacking iron to kind of flatten, you know, areas as I'm going. You know, and I use release paper to, you know, use as a buffer there. Pretty standard stuff. But you know, there's no real need for a cold press here. It's really all the prior prep work to get everything to this level, and then sealing that open tear, and then sealing all of the horizontal tears prior to the spine split seal that you need to mend. So, because you need to seal each individual page before you seal both pages together. And then within that, you know, you could see both of the pages here were already very flat, you know, for the most part. There wasn't any need to, I think what you're getting at is sometimes when you already have a book disassembled like this, it certainly can't hurt to press each page first, because you're going to have to press it anyway, and it might actually make it easier for your overall, you know, maybe you have to press the book a couple times, you have some deep presses, you might as well start here while it's already here. And you know, that's one of those things where when I first started doing this, I remember when I was talking to Kenny Sanderson about removing spine rolls from books, and when I first started, I would do a book like this, put it, you know, seal the spine, do all the conservation work, reattach the cover, and then take the spine roll out. And then one day it occurred to me, why am I not pressing the spine roll out of the interior while it's already disassembled from the cover? It doesn't make sense not to do it like that.
I had the exact same conversation with Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually put that in the book, because Kenny said and I do too, is pressing every page flat and then almost kind of doing a pre-fold before you reattach your staples, and then you kind of finish out the fold.
Yeah. All right, here's so this is just on the cover here. You can see I was dealing with kind of the same kind of thing here, and it was just for the distinction. Here it matters a little bit less because you're just dealing with the white, blank, uncolored cover stock. But here, all that color and all those lap tears matter. So you got to be surgical and everything because you want all the color to be lined up as best as you can. Because once it goes in, your eye's gonna go to all those areas, so you get as much. It's surgical. And then once you're done, this was the before and after. And again, this was back. I don't remember when I did this exactly, like several years ago. I think this was right on that precipice of when they changed the standard of traditional piece fills. So I think either I had to remove these, and this was right at that moment where you see those bindery piece fills at the top and bottom of the spine. I was either able to keep those on this one, or I had to remove them right before this was submitted. But this is to show what it was like prior to that, if I did remove it, and just what it looks like from the outside cover once everything's all mended and put back together.
Did you do Tengujo and then piece fill? Or
yeah, so I have a better picture on the other side here that shows.
Oh, there you go.
So this is back when I was trying to make the layering. So that bottom, those bindery piece fills, I layered. What did I layer? I think probably Cashmere Kozo, maybe Minota, and then another Cashmere Kozo, and that created a sandwich that gave me that nice creamy off-white color that you see there on the bottom. And then the rest is I just have, I guess Tengujo, there's white and then there's kind of a tan. And for this one, obviously the tan was the choice because once it's done, you really can't even see. Sometimes it shows up. You can kind of see that hue in the edge of where the mending tissue ends. But in this case, it was pretty seamless, which is nice.
For grading standards, like you just said, now it would be considered a piece fill.
You'd have to remove that tiny little piece there at the bottom, and you could just spot cast it if you want.
I was going to say you could leaf cast.
That's what I would do. I would just spot cast that one little area.
Yeah, just spot cast it. Yeah.
Yep. That would be in my opinion, that would be the best thing to do. I would find it not necessary to cast the whole spine here. All the paper's there. You can,
Well, I've also found when you're doing the casting, when you have such a close tolerance gap, casting doesn't really make that big of a difference because you're just not going to get a good bind. If you have a bunch of pieces missing out of the spine, then casting makes a big difference.
And you see two traditional book conservators that are casting 15th century books. Those are books that have huge wormholes and chunks missing and pages. They're not just reattaching two pieces where there's a little piece missing. No. That's like they're doing that in the advanced cases of paper loss, really. So, and I really gotta say, I used to take these pictures with the cover open where I'm showing that the natural bend of the spine, which I love. You really see those a lot in Kenny's posts where he shows once he's able to cast it and he gets that. It's such a seamless, the same bend too in every cover, the natural bend that the book has. You don't want it to be really stiff and not opening up. You need to, and that's partially something I learned when I was doing this traditional mending was there is such thing as too much. Like you need to use enough wheat paste that makes it work, but you keep layering it enough, you're going to make it unnecessarily stiff in areas, and you don't want that.
And you'll actually want to fold along where that original tear was, and then it won't look natural.
Yeah, what I do is, as we're talking about, we use the wheat paste on the covers, but I'll do probably 2 layers across a spine like that's been completely split, and that's enough to hold it together. You can still retain your fold.
Yep. And then that's for at least me how I do it. I'm sure I imagine I can't totally be alone here, but one, I feel like I don't see a lot of pictures of people reassembling books at this stage, and that for me is how I hold it from the inside centerfold, and then you can see that the bottom staple inserted at the top prong, ready for me to swing back around and reinsert in the bottom there. It's kind of right in that shine area of the book. But
that's exactly how I do it. I use these little map pins to align all the staple holes, and then I'll do one hole at a time. And the map pins are almost identical diameter as the staple, so it works out really, really well. And plus, they're a little over a half-inch long, so they can dangle underneath as long as you don't stab yourself. But it keeps everything lined up while you're trying to manipulate the staple.
Nice. And then here it is. Once it's all reassembled, I got that spiral taken out of the interior.
That looks great.
That's beautiful.
Looks pretty solid.
It's
solid
even got some gloss left on the interior page there.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you have a picture of your after back cover?
Oh yeah. So here's some fresh scans I got. That's the before and after scan of.
What a difference!
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Beautiful.
And it's kind of funny because I notice these subtleties in the pictures before and after. Like sometimes, that press really makes a difference. Like that top edge.
Yeah.
You can see those creases, and you can see those creases after that aren't there anymore. I love seeing those little things.
right near the DC logo is what you're talking about. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And then the back cover, as you asked, this is the back.
So my question, that's why I wanted you to show this, is definitely with all of the wear along the spine and it being completely split. What was your method for cleaning here? Like you had to be very careful because you got these, and I'm pointing to my computer.
Oh, I'm glad you saw that.
So, you got all of these pieces that have the tears, have the horizontal tear and stuff. So what did you do to, if you don't mind?
I didn't do anything until the conservation work was done. I didn't dry clean or anything because
that's one thing I wanted to point out. Yes.
So this is the case actually that it's pretty ideal. When you look at the before and after along that whole bottom spine edge, you can see how many tears there were going across. And all those tears are still there on the right. They're just, they're more blended in, right? But the paper is stronger there now than it was before, but it's still, you still don't want to accentuate the tear. So to me, I find it more approachable to save all of that dry cleaning that you're going to do until after, because you're just asking for trouble. I mean, there's no reason to dry clean compromised areas. As it is, people already know if you have a corner of a cover where there's a crease and a tear, if you go too hard, you'll rip the piece off. So there is no margin for error here. You need to sometimes, I'll even take it a step further because I know, you see some people that use document cleaning pads, which I'll use sometimes. But if you were to use that prior to do any mending here, and then you have all those little beads getting in all these areas right next to those tears, I mean, even carefully brushing those areas, it can become a big issue.
No, and so you said my 2 points I wanted to point out is, and I've said it in my videos, sometimes you wait till after everything to do your cleaning, sometimes you have to, and then like you said, all these tears are still here, they're just kind of laid back down, so you need to be really conservative in the way you approach something like this. But I can definitely see that outside edge. I can see how much cleaner that is, right there near the circle that says Shakespeare and stuff.
Yeah. The only thing I think I would change now if I were to do this now is you can see, when we guessed the technical grade here, because this was of course submitted to CGC after, right? So it was a 1.5 CBCS before. There is like that tiny bit on the bottom right. There's like it's like abrasion, but there's a little bit of a piece missing. And then there's those small little bindery pieces, which I'm thinking back now, I'm almost positive it was actually, I was getting books back and I was hesitating to send this one into CGC. And then I told my client, hey, I have to take these pieces off or you're going to get a restored label. And they were sending it right to auctions. They were like, whatever, man, as long as it's going to be conserved, do what you got to do. So I had to remove those small pieces. So if I were to do this again, I probably would spot cast that bottom right corner and then the top and bottom edge of the spine just to maximize the conserved grade. But this is what it looked like before it was sent in.
Wow, beautiful.
Looks nice.
Great, Phil.
Nice there.
Looks great.
Thank you. So if anyone, I don't know if in the chat if people want to guess the grade here.
Who wants to guess?
I'm not going to touch it.
Now, because we play this a lot, take into consideration there's a horrible trend of these grades coming back much less than people guess. And I'm not saying that as a qualifier that my work's bad or that people's expectations are higher. I think part of it is that there really is, when you're looking at the book, it's easy to overlook certain defects, right? So like looking at this back cover, I sealed all those tears on the right. They're all still there. They don't break color like they would on the front cover, but there's still damage that's been fixed and it's not perfect, even though it looks pretty seamless before, right? So you got to take those things into consideration.
I'm going to call it, I'm going to be conservative here. I'm going to call it a 4.0 conserved.
Okay.
That was my guess too.
All right, we got the Professor at 5, Ben Stewart with a 4.5, Don Carter with a 5, Hugo Denner with a 6, Hulu with a 5.5, Ben with a looks like an 8. Hey Ben, we need to hang out and grab a drink. I like you. This is great. You plucked my last nerve with a 5, Archivist Drift with a 4.55. AG, hey, Aubrey with a 4, Collected Chaos with a 6, Brownsville with a 5. Okay, all right. Everyone seems to be at least within like a
range.
Reasonable mid-grade here. Yeah, we got seasoned viewers here. This isn't people's first rodeo, but every book is different. And I have been collecting for a while, and I'll still look at books and say something and be like, I didn't see that. Be wildly off.
Yeah,
so.
Sometimes I don't see things.
So. Without
lay it on us.
Boom!
Wow,
that's
great.
I think now, if this book were redone, I think it could even hit a 5.5. Honestly, with CGC standards, because I think that they are a smidge looser with certain things. But the only caveat is there is that stain on the bottom cover of the back cover here. So if those small pieces were leaf cast, spot casted, I think it could get at least a reasonable bump to a 5. But at the time, this came back with a 4.5, conserved, and the label notes state centerfold married. Conservation includes tear seals to cover, spine split sealed cover, and interior.
Now, were they able to tell it was married because of the misalignment of the staple holes, or what was the?
Yeah. So oftentimes, it's funny. I don't have a picture shown of the married centerfold here, unfortunately. And sorry, centerfold, it's not your fault, but it's just it's not the cover, it's not the splash, and I don't even think. I think it was in good enough shape. I might have even. It's possible I didn't even do reinforcement on it. There's no notation here. I sometimes will do it anyway as an added thing if I'm already doing enough mending on the book. But to answer your question, it could have been one of any things, but the most likely thing, especially of a book of this era in my experience, it's because the production cut and the registration of the ink is different. Yeah, so it's the shape when you open up the wrap and you see how the cut is. Maybe the angle is a little bit up, maybe it's a little straight down. That angle can be off, and then also the spacing in which the pen, like when you're basically looking at the wrap and you see the margin where the panels end and the edge of the paper starts. Maybe it's a half an inch on this book, but then that one page it's 5/8 of an inch and it stands out. So then all of a sudden, like you start looking at that, then you look at the cut and it's just, it looked natural, but now it doesn't. It looks a little off because you see the registration off too. So I have people that ask me sometimes, hey, can you get this into a universal holder? And I tell them that it's always inherent in the book. Sometimes these new old stock parts match up, but there's enough variation where assume there's going to be a little variation and it's not going to. So in this case, there was markers where they were like, all right, I'll be honest, Shatter, this doesn't look like it's from the same copy. One other additional note too, because I was able to actually grab this photo because shortly after I did the work, and I guess this is kind of dated, I probably did the work in either late 2000 or early 2021, and then this book was auctioned at Heritage shortly after and got a price which this was I guess this was early kind of COVID, a year into COVID.
Yeah, you're into COVID at this point. Yeah,
I would imagine, unless I'm wildly off, that, and it's probably not by a whole lot, but I bet this book's worth 50% more than this price went for now, unless I'm wildly off. Like I would imagine this book in this grade, even though there's a mirrored centerfold, I would take it could be 25 to 30K.
Well, the fact that you started with a 1.5.
Yeah.
I mean, what a jump. 3 points.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's nothing.
Work. Yeah,
thank you.
Amazing work.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing work, and definitely I think something that can point out to the other conservation community out there is the level of detail that you did with the spine and the cleaning process. It's just amazing all over. Amazing. And I'm trying to look up what FMV is for 4.5 right now.
Yeah, it's one of those books that unfortunately, I'm not super keen on the prices of.
They say there's no data on that grade for some reason. Go Collect is so weird.
I mean, I'm on GPA and a 5.0 unrestored. So a 5.0, the Twilight pedigree actually went for just over 50,000.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one.
And that was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then you know what? Actually, for a good marker, I mean it's signed, but I suppose it's kind of a marker. A 2.5 modern, a moderate amateur signed by Jerry Robinson sold in January of this year for just under 20,000. So
they have FMV for 4.0 at 34, FMV for 5.0 at 37. So this would be like 35.5 would be your middle between that. So yeah, I think you're spot on. Is
the married part, I think, because we know too, the conserved books usually it is like that general rule of thumb, but the outliers are usually the conserved books with the married piece. Those can kind of sometimes swing, but yeah, so maybe not a huge increase, but even if it's like about $25,000 book, that's generally above the budget that I can spend on anything. You're not messing around. This is a valuable collectible book.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In any kind of grade, restored, conserved, qualified.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a.
And to that point, I mean, I'm lucky enough to work on a few copies of this, and I've worked on a pedigree copy that this one has superior eye appeal to. So I mean, this really is a very attractive copy of this book, despite its technical flaws.
Well,
It's got nice
there's
color.
no, the colors are great. There's no. I look at that green field on Detective Comics, and there's just no flaws there anymore.
It's sweet, yeah. And the reds too, especially. You know, we always know those are the first ones to kind of go. These reds are.
Yeah, those. Yeah, those. The colors are great.
Not bad. So thanks everyone for being part of this cool book.
That was great.
Thank you, and I know this is spotlighted in the new book that's coming out. I'm going to be bugging Phil and getting some more pictures and stuff of this.
Oh, nice.
He did share the before and after, but I don't have all the other ones, so we're going to have to
spotlight.
Oh,
I think that might be the Detective 29, right?
No, I think it's
whatever it is you need. Yeah, I'm happy to send.
Cool. All right. Well, that is it. Thank y'all for dealing with us with all the hiccups and things.
The chaos.
I'm sure Paul is going to be very disappointed in us that we.
Hey, no, it's his own damn fault. He didn't give us the password to his YouTube.
Yeah.
I think he assumed something with the.
He assumed we knew what we were doing.
While I did send you guys a picture of what I saw from my point of view, I am fairly confident that he's not going to be like, Phil, the button was right here, and I was like, meep.
No.
I didn't know. Like I
we all looked at it. We're witnesses.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's all good.
So. But hopefully that'll get a few more people subbing to my channel and subbing to Larry's channel, because we were simulcasting between those two.
Yep, I've been watching both channels and seeing that everybody's there. So we have most of our normal people. They're split between the two channels.
Yeah, we're most thankful to everyone that takes the time to tune in, because without you, we're just a couple guys here by ourselves talking about comics. So thanks for tuning in live and for watching the recap or whatever, and making us feel validated for wanting to be crazy people working on these fun books.
Well said. All right. So with that, thank y'all, everyone. I think Larry said he has to go pick up his mom.
Yep, mom's coming in at the airport. I got to go get her.
Oh my God.
Nice.
How old is mom? Like 106?
77.
Okay.
Jeez. Well, I was gonna say, on a lighter note, Shelby, I don't know if you wanted to sign us off in your general nice, calm, free-spirited love, perspective. Yes.
No, this is my usual background for my channel. So I don't do a lot of live shows on my channel anymore.
Shelby's the bully.
I don't do any. So,
me neither.
I'm a terrible host. All right, everybody. I think we're going to call it a night. We'll like we said, next Sunday is Easter. So if you have nothing better to do, you may join us. If not, we'll see you the week after that.
All right. Yeah. With that, we're going to say peace, love, and comics. Bye, y'all.
See you later, everybody.
Bye, everybody.